Okay, let's dive right into Psalms chapter 75.
Yeah, this one, it starts with thanks, which feels familiar.
Right. We give thanks to you, O God. But it doesn't stay there long.
No, it shifts pretty quickly into some really powerful stuff about God's authority.
And judgment and like
Yeah.
what actually keeps the world stable.
hmm
It uses some vivid language too.
Definitely. That opening thanks acknowledges God's name is near, his deeds are known. It sets a foundation.
But then almost immediately the voice changes, doesn't it? It's like God speaking directly.
Exactly. I choose the appointed time. It is I who judge uprightly. It's this really bold claim.
No ambiguity there. Absolute control over timing, over justice. It just kind of overrides any human sense of being in charge.
It really does. It's a stark assertion of ultimate authority. And the imagery that follows, wow.
You mean the bit about the earth quaking?
Yeah, when the earth and all its people quake, it is I who hold its pillars firm.
Just picture that for a second. Everything falling apart, shaking.
And yet, something holding the core structure steady. A divine power.
And right after that massive image, Selah.
Mm-hmm. That pause, like the text itself is saying, stop, think about that.
Yeah, reflect on where stability actually comes from, especially when things feel unstable. It's not us.
Precisely. And because that divine control is established, the psalm then turns to, well, human arrogance.
Right, the warnings to the arrogant and wicked, they're pretty sharp.
Boast no more. Do not lift up your horns.
And do not lift your horns against heaven. Do not speak with outstretched neck. Okay, let's unpack horns a bit. What's the symbolism there?
So horns in this context, it's a pretty common biblical symbol for strength, power, maybe status.
Ah, okay. So lifting your horns is like flaunting your power, being full of yourself.
Exactly, asserting your own might. And the outstretched neck, that just paints a picture of pure defiance, doesn't it? Arrogance aimed right at heaven.
Total defiance. And the psalm seems to just dismantle the whole idea that we achieve real status or power on our own, right?
Completely. It says, no one from the east or the west or from the desert can exalt a man.
So it doesn't matter where you look on earth for promotion or influence.
It doesn't come from there. That's the point. It directly counters that human tendency to strive and seek power horizontally.
So where does exaltation come from then, according to this?
Well, the psalm, it's crystal clear. It is God who judges. He brings one down, he exalts another.
Ah, so it's entirely a divine action. Not self-promotion, not connections, not location. It's God's judgment.
Right. Which is a challenging thought in a world that often values hustle and networking above all else.
Definitely. And for those who kind of push against this reality, who remain wicked or arrogant,
There's another really strong image. In the hand of the Lord is a cup full of foaming wine mixed with spices.
okay.
He pours it out, and all the wicked of the earth drink it down to its very dregs.
Wow. Down to the dregs. So experiencing the absolute fullness of judgment, that's intense.
It's a powerful metaphor for facing the unavoidable consequences of rebellion against divine order. No escaping it.
But it doesn't just leave us there with judgment, does it? The psalmist brings it back.
Right, there's a personal turn. After laying all this out, the divine power, the judgment, the writer says, as for me, I will declare this forever. I will sing praise to the God of Jacob.
So a personal choice, a commitment to align with that power, that reality, and to praise it.
Exactly. It's moving from observing these big truths to actively responding in worship and declaration.
And the psalm wraps up by sort of summarizing the outcome of God's judgment, right?
Yes. It reinforces the theme. I will cut off the horns of all the wicked,
Sucking off that arrogant power.
but the horns of the righteous will be lifted up. So the power of the defiant is broken, while those aligned with God are the ones truly exalted.
So you have this stark contrast throughout human pride versus divine authority, human striving versus divine judgment and exaltation.
And it constantly points us away from looking for stability or power in the world around us or in ourselves.
And directs us towards God as the only true source of stability and the one who ultimately lifts people up.
It really repositions where we should look for security and meaning.
Which leads nicely into a final thought for you, the listener. In a world that feels, well, pretty shaky a lot of the time,
Unstable.
and where people are always looking for power or security from, jobs, status, influence,
Yeah.
what does Song 75 tell us about where genuine strength and security are found?
And thinking about that phrase, lifting your horns against heaven, what might that look like, practically speaking, today? And how could you maybe actively avoid that kind of posture in your own life?
Something to definitely reflect on.